Half a century ago, there were very few cabs around Sydney, and those that did exist were used mostly by the wealthy. But a dramatic move by a young company called Yellow Cabs was to lay the foundations for today's industry.
It started in about 1925 when the Yellow Cab Company of Australia purchased in America 230 taxis, Brougham taxis, which were manufactured in Chicago, and they bought these and started a taxi business in Sydney. This resulted in a price war. Suddenly taxis came within the scope of the average person, the working person, and by the time the war was over in about 1930-31, a price structure had been established which was operating on a Woolworths system. That was that it was far better to do 100 miles at a shilling a mile than it was to do 30 miles at 2 and 6 a mile. There's an example of the sort of fleet that Green Cabs were using, of which my father had been general manager for 20 years. And they found themselves in this dilemma. The only vehicles that were available were large vehicles that were manufactured in America that were costly to operate. And in 1948, General Motors commenced the manufacture of the Holden car. It was cheap to operate, it was light, parts were readily available, and suddenly the taxi industry was off and running again with a car that met its needs.
Holden, you in my Holden, you were meant to be mine.
At the same time, Harold Smith, who was a man of great vision, saw that the future of taxis could be improved, and the service could be improved by the introduction of what was a comparatively modern thing of two-way radio. Now that had a dramatic effect upon the taxi industry. As a result of his experiment, which was successful, other taxi owners quickly followed, and this resulted in the formation of a large range of taxi cooperatives. And then we came through to the 70s, where with the electronic developments in radio and so forth, suddenly the taxi industry has become far more complex.
Taxis combined, may I have your suburb, please?
If you've ever wondered what happens when you ring up to book a cab these days, this room provides some of the answers. This is the communication centre of Taxis Combined, the largest cooperative in Australia. While there are still rows of people on telephones and still handwritten details sent by card to an operator who selects your cab, in the not-too-distant future, this system will be replaced by a new technology which starts out here. It was these curious little musical sounds which heralded the taxi industry's entry into a new scientific era. The sounds from this digital control panel became the song of the 70s for taxi drivers in Sydney, and the system is now spreading throughout Australia. It means, in fact, that the driver's voice has for the most part been replaced by a series of tones representing his number. 7576 in a row. 3 cars have footable 5 queries. Instead of calling for a job, the driver now simply presses the bid button on his dashboard and his unique code is flashed back to base. 4104, have a car. The first 3 codes to arrive at base come up as numbers on this panel, and the operator gives the job to the cab closest to the pickup.
Your location, please. Unavailable highway, 522. Thank you, 4587, your location. 4587, thanks, number 10, Gan Main.
It's the operator who calls the tune. In this system, he's the king, and the drivers, like pawns, can only speak when the operator activates their microphones. But the driver can get through instantly in the case of an emergency.
Give me a hand, please, mate. Listen, let's settle down. It's not as bad as all that. Mate, get the police here quick. This guy's crazy. He's going to kill me.
Step by cars, we do have an M13. We'll get the police on the way to Willoughby Road at Crows. If there's any cars around Willoughby Road at Crows, may be able to assist a driver with an M13. Please, a troublesome passenger in Willoughby Road at Crows.
As long as human beings are still required to actually drive the cabs, there'll be a few cries in the wilderness of technology and a few confrontations between man and machine.
Some guy's out getting murdered, we can't activate it.
In this case, the driver survived and the operator and his machine are only slightly the worse for wear.
This is how the rest of the world is